Hello, student. This is Mr. Teo. This is from EG3959. Welcome to the module Instrumentation and Supervisory Control. My name is Teo Chi Kiong. I'm the module coordinator. Module leader for this module. Without further ado, let me start by sharing with you the blackboard and explain a little bit on how we navigate the blackboard. Okay, before that, let me do the setting correct by hiding away all the control panel. Now, as you can see, this is the blackboard for EG3959. So if you enter this blackboard in your student view, you should be able to see all these things, right? So first I go to the announcement page. Okay, for the announcement page, I have just recently appended and updated the announcement for this whole semester. Basically, all the important dates of submissions are here, and the percentage of each of the components are all written here, right? For example, week 5, you have a lab test that is 15%. Week 6, there is a lab 4 submission, which is 5%. And week 7, there is where your weekly quiz all need to be submitted for week 7, right? So weekly quiz is open for week 1, and week 7 is open right from the beginning, but at the week 7 itself is closure for all the week 1 to week 7. So you have to actually finish all the quiz. But if you do it on a weekly basis, it's not so stressful. So etc., so on and so forth. I will not go through everything. Then, of course, below here, I have appended some basic information on the e-lecture. Basically, it's your self-learning lecture. So on weekly basis, please go through the e-lecture, which is e-lecture week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 of the presentation slide. Because you are expected to go through the lecture by yourself, as it is self-learning. It is catered for self-learning. It's not catered for face-to-face learning. So please also refer to the Words document attached for the chapter. For each lesson, please attempt the quiz. There's a quiz down there for you to assess and understand the weekly lesson, right? So note that all lecture tutorial for this module are self-learned. So lecture and tutorial, basically for this module, lecture and tutorial are together in the 2-hour session. So they are actually placed under self-learn. So therefore, you have to really go through it yourself. Hence, it is very important for you to spend time reading and comprehending the material promptly for the week. If you miss out this week, then next week you have a carryover effect and you may not be able to catch up because this module is quite mathematically intensive, right? Now, the laboratory-wise, it is a face-to-face mode, so it's not so stressful. You will meet me in the lab. You are expected to sign up and install the lab view and control and design simulation software. Basically, is LabVIEW. There's a LabVIEW installation folder, which is inside the LabVIEW, the laboratory folder on your PC. So before week 1, you have to download and install it so that it is ready for use anytime we say, hey, this lab we want to go Zoom, go remote. So basically, then you need to do it from home, right? So, like for example, some occasion, like for example, that week there is a graduation ceremony. So I may have duty and it's not scheduled for any lesson to be conducted. Then we have to do it remotely, like for example, online. So therefore, you can use Zoom for that matter, right? So please get your LabVIEW ready in your lab sheet, in your notebook. Now, okay. However, due to assignment, sometimes some week there may be a swap, but tentatively, face-to-face is for lab, and then the self-learn is basically for lecture. And rest assured that all the lecture are with recorded video, right? So now if you move on to the welcome page, basically states what this module is all about, right? What this module is all about. So this is my name, Teo Chi Kiong. Again, I'm from School of Engineering. So basically, it tells you that this is a 2-hour lecture, 2-hour laboratory session per week, right? So for this one, in order to make it to 60 hours. So the purpose of this module, but of course, the different thing compared to last time is Right now, one of the 2 hour is self-learn, that means e-learning, that means you learn yourself. Whereas the other 2 hour is a lab-based and there's a face-to-face lesson. Now, the purpose of this module is to give students a good grasp of the theory and concept behind instrumentation and control. So after going through this module, student will be in better position to appreciate, understand and analyze things and processes happening in a plant, for example, a power plant or petrochemical plant. So it will be an activity with lots of fun and computation and experiment, right? Experimentation. So basically, this is the welcome page of the module. Then I think this page you will be more interested because it spells out the learning objective of this module, which is 4 of them. This one will be repeated in one of the slides, maybe in lecture 1, basically telling you after students go through this course, what is expected outcome that they will be. Then, of course, there is this module delivery plan for every week for the whole of the semester up till week 15. Now, take note that there is self-learning hour and there is face-to-face delivery during lab. And on the remarks column, I have put down, for example, that particular week, for example, week 2, there is a Labor Day on Friday. Okay, so Friday, it doesn't clash with any of the lessons, so there is no need for makeup. But the moment, for example, graduation ceremony, right? You see here, graduation ceremony is on 3rd and 4th of May, so it's Monday and Tuesday. So depending on whether there is a crash or what, actually I prefer not to cancel the lesson because this is doing lab 2, and lab 2 is very important for your lab test. So we'll see how as it go along. And then of course Harira Plaza. So each of the tested item, the assessment item, for example, lab test, it is proctored. So it's 15% basically on level control using LabVIEW, right? And then of course on week 6 there's lab 4 submission. All these are the same as the just now those items that I highlighted here. In fact, these are only more in table form, those green ones. So if you scroll all the way down, this is the entire assessment plan that adds up. So there is actually 4 big categories. One of them is practical, which means lab test is 15%, and 3 lab assignment is 555. So it's 15 plus 555, you get 30%, right? Now the weekly quiz from week 1 till week 15, but minus the 2 weeks break, is actually 13 weeks. Out of the 13 weeks, it is make up of how many percent? 10%, right? And then there is another quiz, e-quiz on week 11, which is another 15%. So 10 plus 15 give you 25%, right? Total 25%. Now, assignment-wise, it will be a group assignment with a few questions. So you guys will be grouped into groups, and then you basically do the discussion yourself and then submit the finalized solution in the blackboard, through the blackboard to me. Of course, this is the group work, so therefore everybody try to participate. But of course, you submit the best solution so that the whole group will get a good answer. It's not, oh, I do my part, I submit 1 question, and then you do your part, you submit 1 question. So as a result, sometimes your answer varies from question to question. So you won't optimize. So the better student maybe has to help out more in order to get a better mark for the assignment, right? Now, finally, the test, it will be the proctored again, the proctored test, which is on is scheduled for week 16, right? Week 16 is a 1 hour test with, I think, 3 questions, if I'm not wrong, 3 questions. And basically that is 25%. Oh, so this is basically your entire module delivery plan. So this is an overview of the module. Then, of course, if you want to find my contact is here. This is my email. There is my work phone and my office location. Now, my working hour is Monday, 3 to 6, 8:30 to Monday to Thursday, 8:30 to 6 p.m. and Friday is 8:30 to 5:30 p.m. Now, that is before the COVID time. Now currently for the COVID time, the hour is slightly shift. Maybe I should update later the actual COVID phase 3 operating hour. Because for phase 3, we are only supposed to be in school for 3 days. Monday, Tuesday, which is my lesson with you guys. And then, of course, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm not supposed to go to school because we are supposed to work 3 days and 2 days work from home. Then, of course, the last day, which is Friday, which was, I also schedule my consultation hours with you guys, and that is on a Friday, right? So basically, that's the working hour point of view. Then, of course, the very most important thing is this 3 section. Before I go into this 3 section, let's go talk about the Zoom. So most of your Zoom information, if you want to go online Zoom with me, you come to this Zoom e-lesson, right? So when you come to this Zoom e-lesson, of course, N1, you will only see N1. Let's say you are having a lab Zoom with me. Yeah? So N1, you only see N1. N2, you only see N2. You will not see all 3 of them. So this is basically, you will choose and go into the N1, right? But for lecture, I use a common platform, right? Let's say you guys really cannot make it face-to-face and it's urgent. You want me to Zoom with you, I can Zoom with you. But of course, for consultation, I prefer face-to-face because a lot of things mathematically and explanation is easier to talk face-to-face rather than using Zoom. Sometimes Zoom, you cannot express a certain thing and then only at one time one person can talk, but in face-to-face, multiple person can add a view. So therefore, I think if you want consultation, it's better to come during my scheduled time every Friday, 2 to 4. If you need me, just come and knock my door. And if I'm free, I think most of the time I may be okay. So I would basically help you guys, right? So that is the e-Zoom and a consultation hour. Now go to the lecture. Lecture, I schedule in terms of weeks because there is actually 15 weeks, right? So of course there is 2 missing week, which is the term break. So there is no lesson on term break. So therefore I don't put material in for the term break, right? But each of the week, if you go into there will be the actual chapter write-up. That is the detailed one. For example, week 1, we cover chapter 1 and chapter 2. Not to be scared. Chapter 1 is just an introduction of a general view. So this one, chapter 1 is not tested. If you don't read chapter 1, I'm fine with it. But then it's just a general view of the why instrumentation is important, how it apply to your triple E profession, etc., etc. Right? So basically, it's just that. But chapter 2 is where the start of the meat. That means the instrumentation and control. Right? So then you have this write up, right? PDF write up. Maybe I can share with you how it looks like. I can share with you how it looks like. Let me see. Okay. So for example, this is chapter 2. So this will be the detail right up for chapter 2, whereby it has all the details, things even more detailed than the slides for weekly lecture, right? So this is a detailed part. If you like, you can read the detailed one because some people prefer detail over the brief lecture. Of course, then you can have, let's say we go back to the blackboard. Let's say we go back to the blackboard. I'll go back to the blackboard. Cancel. Maybe I should cancel this. Maybe I should close this. Now, so we come back to here. Okay, we come back to here. And basically, that is the detailed documents. Then, of course, there will be slides. You can open the slides and take a look at it. And slides will be the presentation PowerPoint, but it's in PDF format. I'm not sure whether you are seeing the slides. Okay, you are seeing the slides. That's good. Huh? So you're seeing the slides. So basically, the slides for, let's say, the week 1, we'll go through the objective, etc., the assessment component, things like that, right? So even chapter 1, the brief introduction, etc. So this is the slides. There's no animation involved. Then, of course, other than the slide, you have also the PowerPoint presentation that is recorded. That means the actual lesson that was recorded, right? So this is a recorded lesson. Let me check if you are watching the Okay, you are also watching the share recorded, right? So basically, or it is in a Zoom. So basically, maybe I can open up the Zoom to show you, right? But you got to wait for a while for the Zoom to download, because it download into my download folder, right? And then I open this window when done. Where is it? Okay, so let's share. So basically, this will be a kind of like the weekly slide, presentation slide for the weekly recorded lesson. So basically, for your self-learn, you would have to go through the weekly lesson by yourself by listening and playing the recorded video, right? It's not playing yet. Let's see why it's not playing. Because I never enable the editing. So I must enable the content, right? So let's try again. So basically, when you play your video, you got to allow the enable of the content, and basically it will start playing by itself, right? So the recorded video will be something like that, right? And supervisory control. So my name is Teo Chi Kyong, the module leader for this module. So basically, that's what I mean, right? So basically, you would have this embedded inside, and that will be your first lesson, right? And of course, let's say if we go back to the PowerPoint, I mean, if we go back to the front screen of this thing. So basically, you have your slides, you have your detailed document, and you have the recorded lesson, right? So that's for the lecture. And of course, remember the lecture is organized in a weekly fashion. Of course, there's some rules for house rule for lecture. So basically, you must be prompt in terms of reading up and watching all the recorded lesson by yourself, and attempt the quiz on a weekly basis, because the quiz are graded. Now, for tutorial, actually tutorial is together with the lecture, because that self-learn lesson includes both tutorial and lecture. But each week I'm only, let's say for example, I have only total of 4 tutorial. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of tutorial, but each tutorial, a couple of questions will be chosen for week 1 for discussion, a couple of them will be chosen for week 2 for discussion, and a couple of them will be chosen for week 3 for discussion. And that will be all the questions that I chose for tutorial 1. Basically to focus you guys on the topic that I will be testing you, right? So if I don't discuss that question, most likely that question will not come out for your test or exam, right? So basically focus on those that but then of course, for the tutorial, I have a separate recording with the help of Michelle Go on the tutorial itself. So you can watch this video, or you can watch that video that I put inside the lecture portion. That means the recorded video. That one has my explanation. Of course, the one recorded by Michelle Go, she helped me to do the recording for these few questions. The way she explained might be slightly different, depending on which one suits you better. If you think that this tutorial lecture is better in terms of understanding, by all means, please go ahead and watch this instead of watching my tutorial solution. But my tutorial solution, a lot of time, it don't go into the detailed step. It just give you a guide on how to solve it, right? And then of course, in the tutorial also, we have the formula sheet append below here. And this formula sheet is basically, you use it for all your all your tutorial question, your assessment, your etc. Right? So basically, you use this any equation that is within here, you don't have to remember. You just basically use this as a reference. But of course, those things that when you practice tutorial, you realize that those formulas that is not inside here, then you have to commit to memory. Okay, so basically that's what the tutorial is all about, right? Then what else? Then we go back to just now that one, right? We go back to the blackboard, right? Of course, then it also have contain the semi-log paper, which is used for your quite to the end for book plotting. So I also append a semi-log paper down there for you. Of course, after let's say after I finish week 3, I would assume that I've discussed all the questions that I want for tutorial 1. I will append the written solution for tutorial 1 also inside this folder, right? Now, likewise for chapter tutorial 2 and tutorial 3 and tutorial 4. So basically, as I go along, once I finish week 3, I will append. Once I finish week 6, I will append the solution for tutorial 2. Once I finish week 12 for this case, I will append tutorial 3 answer, and so on and so forth. So that's basically it for the tutorial, right? Now, lab-wise is slightly different. It is organized on the based on the lab, because some of the lab may be just 1 week, some of the lab is 2 weeks, some of the labs is 3 weeks, depending, right? So so these labs are organized in terms of weeks. So basically, again, same thing. If you go inside, you will realize that, for example, lab 1 video, these are the videos which I think is relevant for your lab. So if you want more knowledge, you can watch the video, especially by the vendor, LabVIEW, right? So LabVIEW have some vendors that talk about how to use their software, how to use their tools, or you can also listen to the vendors, right? Then, of course, the main thing about the lab is the lab sheet. So lab sheet is the one that govern the entire lab. So for lab 1, it is introduction to LabVIEW. So this is the lab sheet that govern the whole thing, right? Of course, then also there is slides that I do the presentation on what I expect for the lab. So this will be the slides. And of course, there is a recorded session. Some of the lab, there is recorded session, some don't have. This is maybe my previous semester recording. I feel that it's useful, so I put it in, so that in event where you guys miss the lab lesson, you can also go through the recording, right? But of course, the lab, not all the recording is there, because it's supposed to be face-to-face. I'm supposed to conduct with you. But maybe for the lab session that has record, maybe during the lesson, I would ask you to watch the recording as I facilitate around, so that you just go at your own pace and see what the recording tells you what to do. And then you see the demonstration. And if you have any answer, you can question, you can just raise your hand so that I can be around, because it's 1 to maybe 20 something of you. So sometimes it's not possible for me to attend to everybody. So if you are occupied with the recording playback, then I can maybe attend to some of them who have more questions, right? So of course, you guys also must be, you also must take a look at other people's need. I cannot hop onto me and then don't let other people ask questions. So this is called cooperation, right? So basically, that's how the lab is being organized, and how the tutorial. Okay, so basically that's it for the entire blackboard, which I'm going to discuss here. Okay, that's it. Thank you.